Sometimes, when we watch a film, we can find ourselves feeling a bit lost. This might be due to poor writing or editing. It might be because it's a sequel and we haven't seen the film made before it. It might be because the characters' motivations don't really make sense, or their actions don't seem like those of a real person. Watching the film ends up being a confusing and, above all, alienating experience. You haven't been drawn in, you've been pushed away. Sometimes it's outside factors that cause a film to become estranged from its audience. Obnoxious and tone-deaf comments made by the actors, director, or the studio itself in interviews can put many people off watching a film in the first place, and we've seen this play out many times over the past decade. Sometimes it comes from poor or misleading advertising that makes a film seem quite different to how it is in reality. But every once in a while, a film is made with the express purpose of forcing some distance between movie and moviegoer. It wants to alienate the audience. It aims to do this, either actively or passively. But what do I mean when I say that a film is trying to alienate those watching it? I'm not talking about films with a strange antagonist whose motives seem unclear at first, but then become clear later on, like John Doe in Seven. I don't mean a story about an unexplainable entity that wreaks havoc on a people or place, but otherwise has a plot you can follow, like H.P. Lovecraft's The Colour Out of Space, though Lovecraftian themes may be present. What I'm talking about here is a very special kind of experience, one granted by only a very few films, and the degree to which each audience member will feel it will vary considerably. I'm talking about films that outright refuse to hold the viewer's hand. They do not spoon-feed the audience in any way. They offer virtually no exposition whatsoever. You are not a viewer, part of the experience. Instead, you are a mere observer who is given little to nothing in the way of context. Watching these films feels like you've been transported to a certain place in space and time by some technological or metaphysical means so that you may act as an outsider looking in. Of course, it could be argued that every film and television program ever made is like this. You're always on the outside looking in, observing events unfold that are only being truly experienced by the characters on screen. But while the characters in the film are usually unaware that they're being observed by us, the film that they're in is very aware that an audience is watching. As such, it requires its characters to either show or explain what is happening to some degree so that the audience feels included and that they can follow along. But the films I'll be talking about today don't want to include you. All they want is for you to sit there and take in what is placed in front of you. They demand that you do all of the thinking and the intellectual heavy lifting and figure it out for yourself. They drop you into the world, but from there, you're on your own. In David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future from 2022, we're dropped in at the deep end into a weird future world of biomechanical apparatuses, analog computers that interface with human beings, and the mysterious disappearance of pain and disease for much of the population. Many humans have also developed other strange physiological mutations, such as the ability to eat and digest plastic. The film follows two renowned performance artists who undertake creatively grotesque surgeries in front of live audiences. One of the couple, Saul Tenser, has a mutation that allows him to regrow lost organs, and so he and his partner, Caprice, make their living by removing his organs for the entertainment of crowds of art lovers and avant-garde surgery enthusiasts. Saul's condition leaves him in a lot of pain and discomfort, and he is reliant on a strange biomechanical massage chair that twitches and turns in order to help him breathe and digest his food. Similar items of organic furniture to be seen are the table on which Caprice performs surgery on Saul, and the bed that he sleeps in. As odd and bizarrely interesting as this world is, it still has its mundane elements. We meet bland bureaucrats who work for the National Organ Registry, who catalogue and file away newly grown organs to uphold government regulations on human evolution. Normally in a film that contains such oddities, there would be some exposition to help guide the audience along and to give them a proper introduction to the world. There are no such explanations in Crimes of the Future. It's almost as if you've climbed into a time machine and travelled forward 300 years, and you're watching the daily lives of people in an alien society. You find yourself constantly at a loss for what is transpiring before you. By the end of the film though, while you still feel somewhat bewildered by the things you've just seen, it is possible to piece together a handful of the fragmented shards of madness, and as weird and resistant to convention as this film is, my human brain still wants to make sense of it, and so here I will give you my own brief analysis. The world of Crimes of the Future is an extremely artificial one, certainly a commentary on our world. The items of furniture we see that are biomechanical, like the chair, the table, and the bed, are grotesque and baroque, half-alive malformations. Genetically engineered abominations that parallel our own meddling with the natural world, which is twisted and manipulated to suit our needs. Saul Tenser's ability to regrow limbs is symbolic of our own science, seemingly beneficial on the surface. Yet the pain he endures from this ability acts as a reminder that even the most benign scientific advances have their drawbacks. Ever taken an aspirin on an empty stomach? And of course, there is the fact that some people in this fictional world have developed the ability to ingest and digest plastic, even to the point that it's all they want to eat. We all know about the microplastics that are in the food that we eat, the water we drink, and even the air that we breathe. We already know that plastic has a detrimental effect on the human body, and that it even changes you on a physiological level. One has to wonder if, over the next few hundred years, humans will actually grow somewhat dependent on there being a certain amount of plastic in their system to function. Humans can grow dependent on all sorts of harmful substances, so why would plastic be exempt from this? And more broadly, the plastic being craved by people as food in the story could also be seen as symbolic of the synthetic, chemical-infused junk that many choose to eat today. Please support the BewareCast on Patreon by heading to the link in the description. Every penny helps and is very much appreciated. Thank you. Now this next one is a bit of a deep cut, a rather obscure indie film from 2004 called Primer. It's about a pair of scientists who are building something in their garage, but what exactly are they building? There's much dialogue in this film, lots and lots of it, in fact, but what are they actually saying? As a layman, it's extremely difficult to piece it together, but that's the point. Primer is an incredibly impenetrable film by design. The writer and director, Shane Carruth, a former engineer with a degree in mathematics, chose not to simplify the complex technical dialogue for the sake of appealing to a wider audience. Later in this film, it becomes apparent that what the two men are attempting to build is a machine that can reduce the weight of objects placed into it. But with this comes an unintended side effect. The two men accidentally discover that objects placed into the machine exhibit temporal anomalies. They have inadvertently created a time machine. I won't pretend I understood all of Primer while watching it, or even 1/10 of it if I'm being honest, but the basic theme is one of the loss of friendship. They come to disagree on how the time machine should best be used, with one choosing to start using it in less than ethical ways. I won't say any more about it, however, as I don't want to give away too much of the film. But right from the outset, from the opening scene, set in a kitchen with the two scientists and two of their colleagues sitting at a table discussing their work, you're made to feel like an outsider, an intruder, standing by while these incredible intellects discuss things leagues above your own intellectual capabilities, or at least that's how I felt. And with the sheer density of the technical jargon being used by the main characters creating an armoured wall between yourself and the film itself, it would seem that Shane Carruth succeeded in writing a film that can be understood by only a handful of people, at least until the effects of the time machine become apparent. I've talked about 2013's Under the Skin before in my video on the concept of identity horror, which I would encourage you to go and have a look at if you haven't already done so. In that video, I stated that Under the Skin is, in my opinion, one of the most effective depictions of an outsider looking in that I've ever seen on screen. We follow a female alien, played by Scarlett Johansson, who spends her time travelling around Scotland in a van, looking for men to pick up and then absorb by means of a strange black liquid in some mysterious otherworldly place for reasons unknown. Throughout her nighttime travels, we get to see the human world through her eyes, the eyes of an extraterrestrial visitor. This film forces us to observe ourselves, our rituals, our behaviours from the outside. The film's director, Jonathan Glazer, does this exquisitely. The sense of separation, of distance, of pure, that word again, alienation you feel while watching it is palpable. And as I said before in the previous video talking about Under the Skin, we are left without explanation as to what the black void that the alien takes her captured men to actually is. Is it a physical place, like a ship? Is it another dimension? Or is it just a visual representation of what happens to the men, one that our minds can handle, the real process being simply too alien for us to grasp? We are made to experience her world in the way that she experiences ours, with confusion, unease, and without a helping hand. Beyond the Black Rainbow from 2010 is the final one I'll be talking about, and this is, arguably, the most bizarre of the 4 films mentioned in this video. It's set primarily in the early 1980s and follows a psychotic scientist named Dr. Barry Nile, who keeps a young girl named Elena captive inside of a facility he runs in order to conduct strange therapy sessions and weird experiments. Why does he do this? All of his work is in pursuit of one objective: to make everybody on Earth happy. Elena possesses a burgeoning power of telepathy, which Dr. Nile keeps in check through use of a glowing prism-shaped device. It's a film filled with unsettling tension and hellish visuals. Dr. Nile's actions and demeanour are extremely odd, and his behaviour throughout the film ranges from plain awkward to disturbing in the extreme. For much of the film, we're left wondering just what the hell he's thinking, and how any of what he's doing could possibly relate to his goal of bestowing eternal bliss and happiness on humanity. But does this film care if you can follow along or not? Of course it doesn't. As head-scratchingly strange as this film is, it definitely has a unique feel. It's dark and atmospheric, yet clinical and sterile. I personally would describe it as Stranger Things meets 2001: A Space Odyssey, and a definite homage to the sci-fi and horror that spanned the 1960s to the 1980s. But these can't be the only films that reject the audience and forego narrative hand-holding. There must be others. If you know of any, then leave them in the comments below. This has been the BewareCast, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.